neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland,
New York,
New Jersey,
Minneapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan.
Iowa,
Massachusetts,
Georgia,
Canada,
Our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesian,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head,
Boulder Ridge,
Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club.
and Wilderness Lodge.
And you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening
to
to My
DVC Points.
Hey everybody, we're going live on the My DVC Points platform with the DVC Newscast episode 116.
Wow.
I'm Peter. Yeah, I know. Every time I read a number above 100, it's like, holy cow, we've been doing this a while. It's going to be 3 years. Actually, I shouldn't even say gonna. It is 3 years now since we started doing the show. So it's
amazing.
been a lot of episodes
Yep.
for sure. But anyways, I got Sue joining me from Florida from Celebration, and we got a few news items this week. The big one we're going to be talking about is the recent adjustment to Genie Plus. But before we get into that, let's thank our sponsor.
We want to give a shout out to our friends at Monera Financial for sponsoring today's episode. So if you are looking to possibly purchase a new DVC resale contract, or maybe you are looking to refinance your existing DVC contract, definitely hit up our friends at Monera Financial. They can hook you up with whatever you need.
With that, we're going to get into the news. And of course, the big news that dropped, I guess it came out over the weekend, or maybe it was late Friday or something like that, was that Genie Plus, as if it wasn't complicated enough, we're complicating it a little bit more because they're changing the pricing structure. And so they, and I like that Disney said, oh, we're going to try to start making vacation planning simpler. And then then we're going to change Genie Plus to park specific pricing. And if you want to hop with it, you have to pay the highest price. And what's interesting about that is if any of the parks sell out, you cannot add hopping. So you kind of have to decide that you're going to be hopping and using Genie Plus and everything before you start going. Disney said beginning June 27th, guests at Walt Disney World Resort will now purchase Disney Genie Plus service based on how they want to use it. Guests will be able to select either a single park option or a multiple parks option subject to availability. With this updates, prices may now be lower at some Walt Disney World theme parks compared to others. And I will give them credit on this. They did lower the prices at some of the parks. The example they gave, which was for June 27th, was $16 at Animal Kingdom, $18 at Epcot, $24 at Hollywood Studios, and $27 at Magic Kingdom. And then if you wanted the multi-park option, it was also going to be $27. So basically you're paying the Magic Kingdom rate if you want the multi-park option. So at this stage, we can say, because it's been a few days, that the prices are not fixed, because 3 days in, they did the second day on the 28th, they did actually lower the price from the first day. Shannon has been in the parks actually, and they use Genie Plus. They've been keeping up with it. The biggest thing is that if one park sells out, supposedly the multi-park option will also be sold out. I have my opinions. What do you think of this, Sue?
I think it is a little complicated. I think it's worth it when I see something like Animal Kingdom being the lowest. I think that's more affordable than what it was before for the Genie Pass. But your tickets are varied on a day-to-day basis now. The Genie Plus is varied, and you have to make that decision well ahead of time if you want to get the park hopper type of Genie Pass. So you take your chances so it doesn't get sold out in one park and you miss out on it. I think personally, I think it's a little confusing. To me, it was nice to pay. I paid for the Genie Plus and I used the Genie Plus. It's, maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I think the worst part of Genie Plus really sort of though is like you don't know the price from day to day. So until you go on at 7 a.m. and find out what the price is, it's hard to decide what you're going to pay. And now it's going to be even more complicated because you kind of want to plan in advance. But the one thing I will say, and Shannon did this already, is she has an annual pass. So a lot of times her and Ray and Ryder will go to one park in the morning and then they'll take a break and then they'll go to another park in the evening. And one of the things they did to use this was they bought it at like Epcot or one of the lower price parks. and they stacked their rides for later in the day. So they paid for one of the lower price parks, got the rides that they wanted at the end of the day, and took advantage of it that way. I mean, because the reason they lowered the price of Animal Kingdom and Epcot is honestly they weren't selling well
Right.
because there were very limited selection in those parks, and the top rides run out. You maybe get 2, maybe 3 top rides in those parks, and then you're left with Spaceship Earth, which has a 15-minute standby wait.
Right. Right.
And same thing, Animal Kingdom. Without Flights of Passage being on there, there really aren't even all that many rides in that park,
Yep.
and you really don't need the Genie Plus in that park, and so I think that's why they lowered those prices in those parks, is trying to get them to sell more. I mean, in a way, it's a good thing, right? Because as I said, if you
Yeah.
want to use it, if it's a once in a lifetime trip, maybe it's going to save you a little bit of money. If you want to use it as for hopping, we won't know until we see the range of prices a little bit.
Right.
It might be that they went up with Magic Kingdom. This week it was $27, and then it was $25. Seems a little high, but it is summer season, so I don't know
Yep.
what it was right before that as far as prices go. But as I said, to me, the thing that I thought about it was just like, you're trying to make it simpler, and this isn't making it simpler.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see next week on 4th of July what the prices are, and especially at
Oh
Magic
yeah,
Kingdom, because it's a very busy day, the 3rd and the 4th, because they
right.
have the fireworks on both nights. And so it's going to give you an indication of what it could be around Thanksgiving and around the Christmas holidays as well. But I would expect that the prices would be higher. I'd still
For
rather
sure.
see something where you can, before you leave home, like we used to be able to do, you could get 3 rides each day that you were going to be staying there, and at least this way you knew what you had beforehand. And I,
Yeah.
I would pay. I would pay to do that, to be able to sit down when I plan my vacation and say, okay, I'd like to make sure we can get on these 3 rides, and maybe you get on at least 2 of them and one's not available, but at least you had a chance to know that you had something that you could look forward to, and then you didn't have to get up that early in the morning on a vacation to try and get these things.
100%. I feel the same way. That was my biggest complaint about Genie Plus, wasn't having to pay for it, but that I was now paying for an inferior product to what I
Yeah,
used to get for free, which is that ability to pick and choose ahead of time, both the ride and the time, because now so much of it is I go on and it's like, oh, it's at this time. That's
yeah,
during my lunch. I got
yep,
a lunch reservation. Well, now I got to try to move it, and blah, 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 blah. And you're so all day you're constantly trying to manipulate your plans. And I
right,
just, I'm a planner, but I want to plan ahead. I don't want to plan. I want to
right,
have the plan and just do it.
right,
So yeah, I'm totally with that. If you gave me 3 rides up front, and then maybe say once 2 o'clock hits, then whatever's left, I can book another
right,
one every 2 hours, say something like that, right? You get your
right,
3 up front, and then after a certain time you get to book additional ones, what's available left. At least
right.
you have those 3 in your pocket, you have them planned, you have them when you want them. Anything else you get as a bonus. I could get behind that. I think I would use it more often. As it is, we use it once a trip is usually
Mhm.
what happens. We kind of pick a day where it's like, okay, and it's either going to be Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom, or both that we're using it for.
Right. Yeah, and I think the hard thing is that they've taken the fun out of the experience with it, and that wasn't what Walt wanted. He wanted everyone to kind of leave the outside world behind and be immersed in the park and with their family and enjoying it. And as I said once before, you go into the parks and everybody's on their phones because they're trying to get the next Genie Pass, or they're trying to get
Yeah.
dining reservations or quick service orders, and they're not enjoying things as a family anymore because they're on the phones constantly. That's
Yep.
not the experience that he created originally. So I kind of miss that. I mean, I'm a old Disney file, And I love Disney. I'm
Yep.
passionate about Disney, but it disturbs me when I go in and I see that everybody's on their phones and they're just not enjoying the experience together, because
Yeah, and
that's not what it
and
was
you hear
supposed to
people
be.
talk about it and be like, "Oh, I did this." And as I said, I was always a planner. I don't do it into the detail to have the spreadsheet anymore, but I still have in my head, I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna ride this first, then we're gonna go
Mhm.
here, then we're gonna do that." And so I still have it in my head. But as I said, I like planning it out ahead of time. I don't want to
Right.
have to spend my day planning my day.
Correct. Correct.
And that's the problem with Genie Plus.
Yep.
So this does not make it better. I don't know if it makes it worse. In a way, it can if you're at Epcot and you really want to, or as I said, with what Shannon said, it's not a bad idea. You go to Magic Kingdom in the morning, get on some rides, and then you're going to hop over to Epcot. You book your test track and your Remy
For
and your
the afternoon.
Frozen
Yep.
for the evening, and then you're good to go. You get to really hit that park and get a lot done. I don't know. There's always ways to take advantage of it.
Yep.
But
Yep.
hey, we are streaming live, so if anybody has any comments they'd like to share, that would be great. In fact, I got Rachel here. She
Yep.
says, I agree. You feel that because you bought it, you have to try and get the most rides booked. I don't like to buy it for every day I am at the parks. Old Fast Pass, you just had it booked and done. Yeah, that's
Agree.
exactly what I feel like. And that's another good point to it, though. You've now paid $25 a person. Your party of 5, you paid $125.
Mhm.
Now you have to get at the ride. You have to get the rides. You have to get the most out of it.
That's
So you
right.
are on your phone all day trying to
Yep.
move things around and I keep refreshing and I'm able to get this and this, and it's not great. Not great,
No.
Rachel. I agree.
Well, the next story is about DVC resorts that have been listed among the top 15 U.S. resorts for families.
Yeah,
And
here's some good news, right?
yeah, this is great news. 6 of the Disney DVC resorts have made it into the top 15 list of U.S. resorts for families, according to the Disney Parks blog. These include Disney's Alani Resort and Spa, the Grand Californian Hotel and
California.
Spa,
Mhm.
Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, Disney's Beach Club Resort, Disney's Hilton Head Resort, and Disney's Vero Beach Resort. So that's really nice to see that 6 out of all 15 of them
Yeah.
did get into being named top resorts for U.S. families. And they're all good. I mean, Alani, you can't beat. The atmosphere there is just amazing, and there's so much for people to do. Grand Californian, you walk right into the park from there. It doesn't
Yep.
get any closer than that. Animal Kingdom, I mean, where else can you go in the United States and
Oh,
sit on
yeah.
your balcony and see the animals come up to you? Beach Club, again, that 3-acre sandy bottom pool. Hilton Head Resort, the location of it and having the separate beach house is nice. And Vero Beach to just chill out, and from there you can go see a lot from Vero as well, over to the Everglades. So, what do you think?
I'm most impressed that Vero and Hilton Head made it because, again, this is a national, right?
Mhm.
15 best in the United States, right? Doesn't surprise me that Olani makes that. It's an amazing resort. I've never been to Hilton Head, but having been to Vero Beach, it surprised me with how nice it is. And when saying nice, of course, it's a nice resort, but like how they managed to make it to still have the Disney magic, but without the parks. And it makes for like this kind of laid back, but still
Right.
Disney. It's still very high quality. I definitely recommend to any DVC members that have not checked out Vero Beach, at least add a couple of days to your vacation and go over there. It's what about 2.5 hour drive, something like that.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
that. About that. But it's
And
beautiful.
oh, it's so nice, and it's so different from being at Disney when
Yeah.
you're kind of always feeling like you got to be in the parks and things like that.
Yeah.
There's not a lot around there, which could be seen as a
Yeah.
negative, but to me it was like, no, this is great. Just stay
Yeah.
at the resort, hang at the pool, go to the
Yep.
beach. They had some activities, you do those,
You have the
bike
little
path.
golf course, the
Yeah,
miniature
mini
golf course
golf.
there.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was great. It was really great.
And the hot cookies in the afternoon in the lobby. Ooh.
And the restaurants there were good too.
Restaurants were good, and
Yeah.
they're not the typical Disney prices because they have to compete
Mhm.
with local.
Hmm.
and the food there I thought was excellent. But if you want to venture out from there, I mean, you can go down to Miami, Fort Lauderdale. It's not too far.
Hmm.
You can go over to the Everglades and take a airboat ride. There's a lot of fishing, and not too far from there is a beautiful hiking area
Hmm.
along the river. And
Yep.
so you'll see all kinds of wildlife.
Yeah, we went over to try to see the manatees. We didn't actually see any manatees, but it was a nice little walk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's
That
it's not too far from the Space Coast either, really.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. Sometimes I like to go down there just for a couple of days, and it's kind of re-energizes you. It's
Yeah.
just a beautiful place to be. Very nice. Congratulations, DVC. The DVC members ought to be very proud.
Not a secret.
Nope, that is not a secret anymore.
And we did have another comment here. I'm going to pull up. This is along the back talking about Genie Plus, but Jennifer Blanchett mentioned, I just used it for the first time last week. It's not very flexible. I do like the app and the tip board and My Day. I can't say much about My Day. I do agree the tip board is kind of nice
Mhm.
to be able to go in there and see what the wait times are for everything and when you could get your next pass, and you can also see any shows, what times they are. So yeah, that's definitely, it's well laid out. I'll agree with that for sure. And you don't need to buy Genie Plus to see that stuff either.
Right.
All right. Well, our next story is around some
Refurbishments.
refurbishments. Yep.
Yep. Hilton Head is scheduled to start a refurbishment in this July of 2023. It's a full hard goods refurbishment, which will completely redo the resort interiors as well as other areas across the resort. So that's a big one. That's
Yep.
a full refurbishment. Later in the year, starting in October, the rooms at Vero Beach Resort are also scheduled for soft goods update. While this isn't as extensive as a hard goods update, it can mean new flooring and furnishings. Exact details were not provided at this time, but
Yep.
it's expected to last probably through January of 2023. So if you are making any reservations at Hilton Head and over at Vero Beach, just know that when you make them, there'll probably be this disclaimer that they're going through refurbishment. Not all the rooms may be ready when you get there, and there could
Yep.
be some minor construction
Could be
noises
some
that you'll
noise.
hear.
Yeah, they
Yep.
usually only do it during the day. But in addition to that, we have Wilderness Lodge is wrapping up their,
Yep.
that was a hard goods refurbishment.
Yep.
Hard goods basically means they basically rip everything out of the room, right down to the studs practically.
Yep.
And so you get new furniture, you get new kitchen, you get new everything. And that's typically every 14 years with DVC, whereas the soft goods are 7 years.
7
So it's
years.
like
Yeah.
7, 14, 20, they alternate every 7 years. And Beach Club is going through a refurbishment, which I believe is just a soft goods, as is Boardwalk is going to be starting one in September.
hmm
And that's going to be going, since Boardwalk's so big, that's probably going through the spring at
Yeah.
Boardwalk. The Hilton Head one, that's going to be as I said, those are probably going to look pretty impressive.
Yeah.
No word on if they're going to go to the Murphy beds though.
None yet, but they
Yeah.
have in every other place. So I'm kind of wondering.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really great addition, the Murphy bed. They're comfortable. If you've
Yeah.
ever slept on them, they're actually comfortable more so than the pull-out sleeper sofas that had the hard foam, I call it, with the seams in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Much nicer mattress
Yep.
for sure. Jennifer's asking Beach Club only, not Yacht Club. These refurbs, whenever we talk about, are just the DVC units. For Beach Club, it's not even all of Beach Club. It's the DVC units at Beach Club. The regular rooms are on a completely separate schedule, and we don't really know what those are
Right.
typically ahead of time. The DVC ones we can kind of predict based on when the last time they did them and things like that. A couple of them have been behind. The Boulder Ridge one was very late because it was
Right.
supposed to happen maybe a year and a half to 2 years earlier, but because of COVID, the Saratoga one was delayed, and I think that, and then they had a lot of issues with the Saratoga one, and I think that led to
Push the schedule.
push that one
It did.
back. Yeah. Now they're catching up a little bit. We're seeing both Beach Club, which is going on right now. In fact, it had started already, and then I heard that they paused it because they were unable to get enough of them. it's not a Murphy bed because that's a brand.
Right.
So whatever the brand is, fold down bed, they weren't able to get them. So they actually stopped the refurb there and have started it up again since. So I think the Beach Club one will probably be done sometime in the fall. And then, as I said, and then the Boardwalk one is going to be, because I remember last year in like September, when people were trying to book September and October of 2023, there was no availability of the Boardwalk View rooms. And everybody's like, why is this? Why is this? And it turned out
That's
and
what
I'm
they were working
surprised,
on.
but they're probably going to do that entire
Yeah.
wing at the same time. And that's
Yeah.
why those rooms weren't available. They try to take not that many rooms out at a time. They'll usually take out maybe a floor or something like that, you know, at a time to do that, because they don't want to totally screw up inventory.
Right.
But when this is going on, the inventory is lower, so it makes getting rooms harder for sure.
Yep.
And our last story is around the Christmas parties, and those actually went on sale this morning as our recording. And I have my tickets for
Do you?
Jollywood Nights. Yeah,
Nice.
the first November 11th, we will be experiencing Jollywood Nights. So hopefully it goes off pretty well. A couple announcements were made regarding some of the Christmas parties will have extra festivities for members. They announced for the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, the dates being November 9th, 16th, 30th, and December 7th, 14th, and 21st. And then also for the Jollywood Nights at Hollywood Studios, there's going to be an extra bit of fun on the December 6th and the December 20th dates. So at this stage, we have not been giving any specifics about what this exactly means. Now, last year's Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, there was something very similar done at Gaston's Tavern. They had special treats for DVC members and then an extra photo op. I wasn't able to find out what that was. I would assume it was with Gaston, but I don't know for sure. You know, so expect something similar to that. It'll probably be some extra snacks and probably a photo op for DVC members only. I would guess that's probably what we're going to see. I don't think it's going to be like a dinner or something like that.
No.
Just so everybody knows, tickets did go on sale today for people with hotel reservations. There is a $10 discount for DVC members and for annual passes. And having done it today, I can tell you across the top, it said, click on it, it said room reservation, then it said DVC member, then it said annual pass holder. And if you did not click on, if you just left it on room reservation, you paid $10 extra. So you had to click on DVC member. You were able to get that $10 discount. I can only tell you what November 11th was, but November 11th was $159 for Jollywood Nights.
Okay.
And with the $10 discount, it was $149. I know the prices range from $159 to $179 on that. And I believe $159 to $199 for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, right?
Yep.
So, and again, with the 10, you can get a $10 discount. If you do not have a room reservation, tickets are going to go on sale. I believe it's July 9th, right?
That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. Yep. Sue doesn't need to stay there. She can just.
I'm at the end of World Drive.
Yeah.
I do stay there. I still, use my DVC and I like staying there, but I couldn't get any reservations for some of the nights that I wanted. So I
Yeah.
figured, well, I'll just drive myself home after that. But yeah, I'm waiting for July so that I can make my reservations. I want to go to both this year.
I did buy a ticket for my daughter who's down there working. So hopefully they'll let her have the night off.
Yes.
So she can go to so she can go to Jollywood Nights.
That'll be neat. It'll being different this year since it's the first time they put it on.
I'm not a massive fan of the hard ticket events. Though I will admit I haven't been since COVID. I've heard they've backed off on the numbers. One of the reasons I was down on them was because the last few times we went, they were so crowded.
Yeah.
And it was still when it was only like, I don't know, $79, $89 a person at that time. And it was so crowded that it was the most crowded time I had in Magic Kingdom the whole week. And I'm like, why am I paying extra for these kind of crowds? And so I have heard, or, a few people have reported that coming back last year, they did do a lot better job of limiting. They brought the prices up, but they've really limited the crowds.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens with this year, especially Jollywood Nights, because Hollywood Studios doesn't really have the capacity the Magic Kingdom does.
Right.
So in theory, they would have to keep that one even lower than Magic Kingdom in order for it to not feel crowded. So we'll see how it is. We'll see how it is. And when I say not crowded, that's still probably like 20,000 people without it being excessive, but we'll see how it turns out. We'll be those guinea pigs going the first time. And as actually, and Shannon will be there. And I know a few other My DVC people have bought tickets because that's the weekend we're kind of having a fall My DVC Points event. So if anybody's in town on the 11th, you want to get Jollywood Nights tickets, you might end up meeting a whole bunch of My DVC Points folks.
I'll have to try and get tickets for that weekend then.
Yeah, join us on the 11th. Sure. And Jennifer says, "Ooh, I like the member bennies." Yeah, they are really good. And Rachel said, "Oh, that'll be a special for DVC members." Bought our tickets this morning for November 11th too, so she's going to be there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be entirely My DVC Points people. We'll take over the Tip Top Lounge or whatever they're calling Tip Top Club. Is that what they're
Tip Top Club? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and we didn't say it last episode because we didn't know this, but I have heard since the original announcement that the sing-along that they're going to be doing in the Hyperion Theater is going to be Nightmare Before Christmas.
You're kidding.
Nope.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that wasn't in the original announcement. They did say there was going to be a sing-along, but they didn't really hint at what it was. But since then, they have announced that. So there's going to be
fantastic.
Jack and Oogie Boogie is going to come out on stage, and they're going to do some of the songs from the movie. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things with this. And, I mean, I don't know, 10 years from now, when you've done it a bunch of times, it might not be that exciting. But because to me now, it's like the Merry Christmas party. It's like, oh, yeah, the parade again. I've seen that parade like 8 times.
I know, but I still love the parade. And
it is a great parade.
I mean, when you see the wooden soldiers, that just strikes me for some reason.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
It is great, and the snow on Main Street and everything. It's very cool for sure, and it's something everybody should try at least once. But I am looking forward to like a change of pace on the hard ticket event. So this is cool. I'm glad they're trying something new.
That's going to be great, and plus having jazz music over there, it's going to be awesome too.
Oh yeah,
in the club.
I'd heard originally they were going to do it very like Dapper Days.
Yep.
Like nostalgic. It was going to be marketed that way, and they kind of pulled back a little bit, but they're still, the way they're talking about it is like dress in your finest and things like that. I think that's a cool, like, make it a little different from Magic Kingdom and your Christmas sweater, where as opposed to wear your finest, so that's very cool too. All right, I'm rambling on now though. So, anything else you want to bring up?
No, I think that's all that's been in the news. I'm glad that Shannon's been having a fantastic time, and that's why she's not here with us today. She's having a fantastic time in the parks and trying out the new Genie Plus system.
Yep, they're at Copper Creek and saw them enjoying the pool and watching the fireworks from out on the water. It's a great resort too.
So I know the next time when she's back, she'll give us all a scoop as to how things worked out.
Yep. So with that, let's just thank our sponsors, the DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store, and Monera Financial for their continued support of the My DVC Points platform. And if you need somebody from the DVC Resale Market, Sue here is one of their, they don't call you guides probably, right? But
no, we're sales associates.
Sales associates, yeah, you can't use that term. So if you have any questions, you can contact Sue on the My DVC Points platform. She's on there. Or also, message us on the DVC newscast. If you enjoy seeing this live and want to listen to us, we are available on all the podcast platforms. We record every 1 to 2 weeks. It really depends on the news. News has been slow kind of lately, so it's been more every 2 weeks of late. But we always say we don't want to just put out a show to put out a show. We want to have something to talk about for you. So our shows come out not on a weekly basis necessarily, but we do try to get at least every 2 weeks there's almost always something to talk about. But with that, I think I'm going to say bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us and have a magical day.
Yes, and have a happy 4th of July.
All right. Yeah. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. Like DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.